Sometimes you've made a game, and somewhere through the alpha stage of the game, or even beta stage of the game, you have all the mechanics inside, you have the artwork inside, you're close to 80% locked. But the game just doesn't have the right feel. And feel is something that is extremely hard to describe because you're taking feedback from numerous people, and all of them are telling you the different things. But are they really different? Or are they pointing out a pattern in your game design? This is where the concept of invisible design comes in, which I think every game designer or even immersive media designer should know. So, what exactly is invisible design? Think of it as the different elements of the game: sound, music, UX, UI, animation, mechanics, your inventory systems, the small click sound that you hear whenever you actually pick something from the inventory system, the seamlessness in which the game transitions from one mechanic to a sub mechanic, the way the AI converse with each other within the game, letting you know that they may be aware of you or at least creating an illusion of awareness. When all of this seamlessly come together, we form invisible design. It is something that the player feels, and that makes a game exciting and interesting. So, an example of this kind of a scenario could be that you are actually making a game for some time now. You might be even at a prototype stage or a MVP stage, and you're getting different people to come and play it. And you're doing everything by the book. You are actually having a art process and a pipeline all designed. You're having a design process which has level design, system design, um, UX design, all of those integrated within the game. You're also working with your sound and music team. But somehow, every time your stakeholders or people from other teams come to test the game, you do not see their body language really reflect that they are enjoying the game. They're giving you feedback, and they're giving you objective feedback wherein this mechanics works, so I got lost here. And sometimes this can lead to a lot of confusion within the team, and sometimes it can lead to reactive design, which makes stakeholders put pressure on you to shift directions and change the game completely. Something that you have been working for months now needs to be changed without any timeline addition. A lot of times, this is where invisible design comes into play, and there's also a concept of projection. A lot of people who will be playing your games, or a lot of stakeholders who will be actually reviewing the game, and maybe at that stage of the game, this product is not polished enough. But what they sometimes lack is projection, which means that they actually cannot project how a polished version of this game may look. And that's why, as a designer, if you understand the concepts of invisible design, you can integrate the concepts of polish gradually. So, for example, a big thing I like to work with is sound design and music early on, because the way sound and music works is it can really trick your brain into thinking something exists in that world while it doesn't. So this can be done in very simple ways, in a way where if you have a boss fight and you have really nice music and sound design, people will feel a lot more involved with the engagement of the boss when coupled with really sleek animations. But sometimes, even if your animation takes time to reach that end point of polish, the sound and music can really carry the game. Now, let's say you have the sound and music in the boss battle all done up and the animation is sleek too. But players keep commenting there's something missing, it doesn't feel engaging. You might think, in terms of mechanics, I need to add more spells or I need to add more features to the boss battle. But sometimes you can add something as simple as better VFX, better hit impacts, better damage resistance, better animation cycles, better pacing, and all of that leads to invisible design, where the same players who have played the game all of a sudden say, wow, this feels great, and they actually think you have added more and more features. Whereas what you have done is actually just polish different elements of the game. So the next time you play a game, let's say play a game like Last of Us, and you are fighting against human opponents within that, or you're fighting against the infected within certain levels. Try to look at how that level is actually designed. Initially, when the characters come into the level, you'll always start off with a camera pan showing you some of the enemies, their different positions. This creates anticipation. Right following that, there will be some element of sound or music within the game, which tells you now the mission has started. And you might even hear different AI enemies converse with each other in the case of human enemies, or in the case of those who are infected, they will obviously make some level of noise. Then they move to the alert state if they have noticed the players. And this lets the player know that, okay, now it's combat time. The player may choose to engage or disengage with this combat. If they choose to disengage, you notice the sound and the music immediately change, telling the player psychologically they are safer now. In combat, there'll be a high momentum of music and sound. The, the AI will actually give you opportunities to win that combat. Very small opportunities. This can be a delayed animation effect. This can be a delayed reaction. This is for the player to recover. And of course, when the combat ends, the music also changes, and then you have a cinematic. All of this plays into the concept of invisible design, and then you have the end of the level where the characters actually speak about the next part of the mission. So understand invisible design. The next time you play a game, look at the different elements and how they come together. If you're making some game for like a few months and you still haven't found that interesting loop, a lot of times adding additional mechanic or feature will not solve your problem. Maybe it's the little sound design. Maybe it's how you use music in your game. Maybe it's the little VFX. Maybe if you have a hack and slash, it's the little VFX after your axe comes in, drops on the ground, leaves that VFX trail, and there's a sound accompanying it. Invisible design can be used in clever and smart ways, and it's always used by designers for now decades. Get good at it, start noticing it, your game will immediately start feeling better. And like I always say, you can teach everything, but you cannot teach feel.